Our top story this hour, the 77th session of the United Nations General Assembly has begun in New York City. Now, the UNGA, this year's session will focus on the ever-alarming climate crisis as well as the war in Ukraine. The UN says this year's theme acknowledges the shared roots of the crises such as COVID-19, climate change and conflict, and the need for resolutions that build global sustainability and resilience. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres opened the session on Monday, where he also spoke about the importance of education, along with calling for urgent climate action.
Each peril is pushing the Sustainable Development Goals further out of reach. And in the face of such perils, it is tempting to put our long-term development priorities to one side, to leave them for a sunny day. But development cannot wait. The education of our children cannot wait. Dignified jobs cannot wait. Full equality for women and girls cannot wait. Comprehensive health care, meaningful climate action, biodiversity protection, these cannot be left for tomorrow. Across all of these areas, young people and future generations are demanding action. We cannot let them down.
Now, in 2021, the UNGA focused on the Taliban's takeover of Afghanistan. This year, the hope was to bring focus back to climate crisis. But the war in Ukraine will definitely top the agenda, with many Western leaders in attendance. EU's Foreign Policy Chief Josep Borrell is also in New York for the UNGA, where he highlighted the situation at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant.
Let me use this opportunity finally to talk about the situation around the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. Russia must cease the occupation immediately. We support the establishment of a nuclear safety and security protection zone, as Dr. Grossi proposed in his report following the visit.
Now, the annual session will be skipped by leaders from India, China, Russia and Ethiopia. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will not be attending the session. Instead, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar will represent New Delhi. Dr. Jaishankar arrived in New York on Sunday and is looking at a packed week ahead with over 50 official engagements on schedule. Russia and China are also sending their foreign ministers to the session. For the last 2 years, the leaders were allowed to send pre-recorded statements in light of pandemic restrictions. But this year, they will have to travel to New York to speak in the chamber. The only leader allowed to send a video address is Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky. Meanwhile, Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi will be attending the UNGA as talks to revive the 2015 nuclear deal hit another impasse.
The ultimate outcome is the lifting of all oppressive sanctions of the world over the past decade.
And for more on this, our correspondent Susan Tehrani has sent us this report from New York. Listen in.
The high-level week of the 77th session of the United Nations General Assembly is underway here in New York, with world leaders meeting in person for the first time in 3 years, facing grim realities such as the worst humanitarian and refugee crisis facing Europe since World War II due to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, mounting economic and climate crises, as well as food insecurity and high food prices facing notably the world's most vulnerable communities. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres is expected to deliver his speech. His spokesperson spoke to a group of journalists on Monday, and he said that the Secretary General is expected to deliver a sober, substantive, solution-focused report card on the state of our world, where geopolitical divides are putting all of us at risk. He continued by noting that there will be no sugarcoating in his remarks, but he will outline reasons for hope. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION World is One.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.